So that person that's out there, that's like, should I get into real estate? What do you think has changed about your perspective so where maybe they can fit themselves in that box? Like, am I a fit for this? Because we talk about, like, you come from a sales background, right? So you got an advantage, right? Some people come from backgrounds that aren't sales. Right. And so what would you tell that person that's like, can I really do this?
Right. Well, we've taken personality tests even within our own brokerage just to see how different we actually all are. That to me was very eye-opening because that showed that anyone who wants to get into real estate just will have a different skill set to really lean on. Mm-hmm. Are you very disciplined? Are you very goal-oriented? Mm-hmm. Are you very specific? Are you very regimented? Or are you that person that is what some people would consider maybe to be more traditional sales where you are more charismatic? So when it comes to who's the right for real estate, I don't think there's really a wrong answer. I just think it's more about what skill set are you going to lean on and coming in to where you can figure out what is my biggest advantage that I bring to being a successful real estate agent and what does my roadmap look like? Because everybody's roadmap is going to look different. Yeah,
it's totally true. Some people, and in real estate, when we talk about being successful, some people lean on their charisma and they're natural born sort of salespeople and people like them and all those things. I was not blessed with that. I try to get behind camera and it's always a struggle for me just to, you got to like elevate your appearance on camera. But for those people who are more analytical and they're more data driven, then you got to lean on skills, right? Like you got to get awesome at explaining the process, at about like being able to figure out what homes are worth and where's the deals that can be had and like what are all the things with this house I should be aware of. As a buyer, you would want to know about. Right. And so there's so many paths to be successful in this business. It's just crazy to me that like we sit here and we feel like the only people that could be successful are these natural born salespeople or these people who with like really outgoing personalities. And so describe to me what you think, and you've already said it, like anybody could be successful, but who do you think is the most natural fit?
I would think the person who's probably the most natural fit would clearly be somebody who's just somewhat well-rounded. That way, they're not considered the salesman or the life of the party necessarily, but they can have a conversation with any reasonable scenario. But they also have other skills. They know they've had times where they buckle down and they can be very disciplined. They know they have situations where they've had deadlines. Whatever industry they're coming from, doesn't matter. Yeah. They've had deadlines to deal with. You're in the service industry. You've had to work with customers that you've had to talk about de-escalating situations. You've had to help people get over some type of barrier. Everybody has all those experiences to bring. So you would just bring those experiences over. So of course, well-rounded. One misperception, I think, is that in real estate and who's going to be successful, like you brought up, is it's going to be the super charismatic person. There are buyers and even listing agents who frankly don't necessarily want to work with somebody who's just that outgoing, and they may be a more analytical introvert. Introverts and sometimes folks that are very analytical don't necessarily feel comfortable with that type of energy. And so they're waiting for somebody that sort of speaks to them and their energy, and we see that all the time. So for me, I'm trying to learn how to be more analytical and more disciplined in my approach because I think I have enough charisma, but I can't lean on the charisma. And all the training that I've learned in real estate has told me that it's really the super disciplined, the ones who come up with a schedule, the ones who do the hard things, the small things. And I think there's a lot more people out there just based on data than super charismatic people. So again, I think there's a lot more people who are maybe counting themselves out of the industry because of misperceptions, and they actually don't understand they'd probably be even better agents.
Yeah, it's so true. I've seen the super detail-oriented person go crush it in real estate. I've seen the former school teacher or the former pastor that has a ton of relationships crush it in real estate. I've seen the wannabe entrepreneur that wanted to start their own business actually go crush it at real estate because they have that entrepreneurial mindset where they can maintain the self-discipline to go chase the business and wake up every day and actually go get it, And so there is no perfect fit. There are people who maybe the odds are a little skewed in their favor, but for somebody thinking about getting real estate, like I would not overanalyze it because you can get business in all different forms, and it's a matter of finding the form of the business that fits your actual inherent personality and skill set.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And of course, if you don't have a background and you don't think that you meet every single perfect marker, which almost no one will, it probably makes more sense to make sure you're joining a team. Because when you join a team, you're going to have leadership and mentorship that's going to help you see your first 90 days in. Hey, it's already obvious. These are the things that you really excel at. And here are the things that we know it takes to be successful. You mentioned to yourself, you've had to overcome the idea that you need to be even more personable. You need to be able to go on camera. That's not necessarily your super comfort zone.
Yeah.
And people will automatically assume that Aaron must love being in front of the camera or he must love being charismatic. And you've actually had to work that muscle. Whereas you're really good at the behind the scenes. Well, somebody who's really good at behind the scenes can learn to be effective in communication and being on camera and all the other ways. So it's just really which side are you going to have to build up your skills at. But if you're on a team, you're going to learn all those things and you're eventually going to pick up any area that you need to get stronger at.
It's true. You get with the right team, we can fill in the gaps on where you actually sort of lack inherently and personality style and really make you into something stronger. And I don't recommend people focus on their weaknesses and making them stronger because it's just a poor strategy in my opinion. I mean, everybody wants to get better at whatever they're weak at, right? But like lean into your strengths. Like focus on what you like.
Yeah.
Focus on the way you like to generate business and the people and attract the people that you want to work with. And too many people are really focused on the fact that they feel like they can't make it because they're so weak in this one thing, and it's completely untrue.
No, absolutely, yeah. And I agree. I mean, there may be behaviors that you just inherently have to change some behaviors or switch, or just if you're not is somebody who's going to have a focused schedule, but you know that's what it's going to take to be successful based on the business model you've picked in real estate, then that is a skill that you're going to want to improve on, but 100% don't not lean on the 80% of your charisma or the other things or your network or your sphere of folks in real estate that's really going to be the thing that's going to launch your business. Because those other things that you need to dial in later will kind of figure themselves out most of the time if you do lean on your strengths like you talked about.
Yeah, so you've been in it for a while. What do you think are the things that people really sort of avoid that you know would bring them success? And now you can kind of see it from this lens of you've been around for a while, you've been trying to do this, you've been successful already. What are those things that people like really avoid or skip out on that you think they should focus on?
I think for one, because I've done some of the same since I've gotten started, is really just not letting everybody that you know that you've had this major change in careers, because just by virtue of letting folks know that you're now in real estate, it will inherently help your business, even if you are scared of doing that. Also, jumping into social media, some people are not as into social media as others, but it really is an amazing tool in real estate. And it's just one that, frankly, if you want to be successful in 2024 moving on, you're just going to have to embrace it, and you should embrace it. And actually, over time, it's going to bring so much of an easier process for you once you just kind of get disciplined and lean into it, that it will save you so much time in the future. And it also just helps. There's sometimes we're not as concerned with selling real estate. We just want to help people because those things always come back and support the whole community as well. And so that would be my advice, would be make sure that you are willing to do the things that you were scared of initially, and a lot of it's just really getting the word out there. I just think a lot of people think that somehow there's sales calls that you're getting every day. We're getting cold called from other things that are not services that people really even truly want or need sometimes. And so maybe there's just that stigma of, I don't want to be one of those folks that bothers the people that I care about or they're in my sphere. And we need to get away from thinking that, because we're all going to buy and sell homes. It's just natural. And so don't be scared to let the people that you already care about know that what you're doing.
No, the thing is when agents are brand new and they want to reach out to all the people that they think that they should, like you're describing, it's they don't know exactly what to do is the problem.
Right.
And so, should I send a letter?
Right.
Should I reach out to them? Should I tell them, hey, do you want to buy or sell? You know what I mean? They start to really overthink that process. And it's not about any of that. It's about reconnecting, and it's about just making them aware that you're actually doing this as a career and that you're taking it seriously and that you're having some initial success and that you're backed by enough support to where even though they're new, like you can guarantee a result for them. Result with selling their house, result with helping them go find a house, negotiate on that house, make sure they get through the inspection, like give them some level of confidence. And that just starts with reconnection. They ask you what you're doing, and now you have a conversation about where you're both at, right?
Yeah, and I agree. And in every conversation that I've had with anyone in my sphere, it's went great. And it does actually just make for a good conversation to catch up on. Maybe there's folks that you haven't talked to in a while. And it doesn't have to be the conversation of, I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted to let you know, here's what I've been up to. Here's kind of a major change in my life. I think anyone that's truly in your sphere would be interested, just like you would be interested if somebody switched from being an engineer and decided to open up their own bread making business. You would still want to know that too. You'd say, wow, that was a big change. That's very interesting.
People assume if you're newer to the business that they won't work with you. And that's totally untrue. Like, you're the one with the relationship, you're the one with the trust. For some reason, but they still have this fear, and they shouldn't.
Right.
I'm telling you, I've seen people, and I know because I've been doing this for a long time, and I lose business to these people that have these new relationships that are stronger than the one I had.
Right.
And I'm like sitting here thinking like, okay, you want this new person to help you out with selling your house, and I've been doing this for a lot of years and have all this backing and this marketing sort of pedigree. But I'm telling you, make them aware and just do it anyway, because they will support you in your new adventure. And a lot of people don't think they will.
I agree, and I'm seeing that already. So, I've got to get better about it myself and really put those messages, like you said, if you're on a team, we have those messages. We have ways to put those things out where you don't have to feel awkward. Or if you're super close, pick up the phone and say, let's just go grab a coffee, or let's go hang out and grab dinner and just catch up. Because it doesn't have to be an uncomfortable conversation to talk about something major in your life that's changed.
It shouldn't be about you trying to get business.
Right.
It should be about you trying to reconnect.
Absolutely.
And just establishing where you're at in your life. And like, you already have that relationship. So the natural next progression is just that conversation about what you're doing. And the business will come later. You don't have to worry about it right now. Everybody that gets into the business thinks they need to go chase this deal that needs to happen in the next 30 days or whatever. But you're setting yourself up for the future, and you're saying, hey, I really enjoy doing this. I'm excited about it. And here I go. And they will remember.
I agree, and it really is about building for the rest of your career. And a lot of your sphere in real estate may not be interested in doing anything. Maybe they're really comfortable in their life or the school systems, and it might be 10 years. So it really doesn't have to be anything that's not authentic. It really is just about connecting. And I know that when I catch up with someone and find out that they've had some major, you had a child and I didn't even know, or you had, you switched, some major change. It almost feels like, well, I wasn't even important enough for you to let know. So I certainly don't want to do that to the folks that I've had good relationships with for all these years.
All right, so we talked a lot about the tactics, the personality types of people that could be successful in real estate, but I have a belief that once you decide to become a realtor, there's a certain schedule you need to keep, and there's a certain cadence to how you need to do things, or else you won't have success, especially if you don't have a team. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, and that's maybe even one of the misperceptions that people might have about even getting into real estate would be, am I just going to be free-flowing and I make up my entire schedule and everything's just going to kind of land in my lap? And of course, even if we thought about it from common sense, we know that probably wouldn't happen. So, of course, no matter what your background is, you've had some type of structure. Even when you've been an entrepreneur, even if you were a successful entrepreneur, maybe even more so, you had to really set down a schedule and discipline yourself, because you don't have necessarily a boss per se or a direct supervisor telling you exactly where to be. You don't have meeting invites where you have to be exactly where you want to be. And a lot of us, if we're coming from other industries, we have never, we've only had that structure and we've kind of leaned on it and not really thought about it because we've been conditioned for that for so long. However, when you're new to real estate, one of the first things you really need to do, and it does take some thought and probably some conversations with folks that have been successful, to say, what should my day look like if I really want to be successful? Should I, build a calendar out for everything that I want to do so that I really can flow through the week and know that from this time to this time in the morning, this is when I'm going to go through and do all my follow-ups, my emails. From this time to this time, this is when the customer is most available to go see homes. I've noticed that trend, or somebody has already showed me that in the industry. So I need to carve this time out for the most part to be prepared to do showings. And you systematically build out your schedule. And if you do those things routinely, what you will find is over time, your business will pick up. Everything about it will get easier and you'll be less stressed out because the day actually has a methodology. And that's really what you've been used to your whole life anyway, probably, is you've had some types of structure like that. So don't think that if you come to real estate, you can just blow away the structure. In fact, you still want to build a structure. And there's already some structures out there that you can look up that somebody can just hand you. Here's my schedule and I've been successful. So if you just want to look one up and say, who's been successful and what does their day look like early in real estate, take that and then kind of build out your own template for what works for you in your life. But just make sure that you stay consistent with it.
Yeah, and if I could give you some advice, it is when you wake up in the morning, you have some semblance of balance in your routine, right? So based off of the way you live with your family, if you have a family, it's when do you arrive, where you arrive, and put your feet on the ground and get some work done, because the day gets really chaotic. The second you sell one home, two homes, three homes, you've got all this outside influence coming in at you, and you feel like you need to manage it. But what you really need to focus on is, how do I keep acquiring future business while still making everybody around me that I'm already helping feel like I'm never not available for them? So the way you do that is you manage yourself early in the morning, in my opinion, right? And you actually then have a systematic approach to follow up with new people first, then your existing clients, then you go and you make appointments and you service your clients in the afternoon. So we're talking about this sort of schedule where the first part of your day is all new outbound and management of existing clients. Second part of your day is meeting new people and meeting the people that you already are working with to go show them different houses since you haven't sold them one yet, or the person who wants to sell their home. So, and then, sometimes you'll have somebody who wants to meet you in the morning.
Sure.
And that's fine. But what you need to really focus on is first part of the day, you just split it in half. First half is getting new business and management of existing business.
Right.
Second half of the day, servicing new clients and finding, putting the finishing touches on getting those newer clients, because you're only focused on your existing clients, which is the trap that every realtor falls into. And you want to be highly successful. What will happen if you do that is you will only sell 1 or 2 homes a month. If you want to sell 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you have to be really focused on that earlier part of the day, which is acquiring the new business. And it's just this is how this is for everybody that has been highly successful in real estate. I've seen it time and time again. And I'm telling you, the new person will get like 1 client or 2 clients, and they will just really focus on them for their entire day. And then now you've got nothing. You're going to close those 1 or 2 deals, and then you got nothing. You're sitting around looking for the next one. You have to always be getting the new one while you're servicing the old, and that's the hamster wheel that you're on constantly.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, and that has been my early experience, is just finding that balance and not falling into some of those traps. And it looks like most people do fall victim to those traps initially.
Everybody does it.
It just happens, and you think that you're giving the best customer service, and you are, but you don't realize until you add up how much time that really you could have effectively given great customer service and researched what you needed, but also moved on to building out that new business.
Part of it, you just got to go through that, because you need to learn the efficiencies. You need to learn the process really well so you can explain it better. And your output and your sort of throughput changes because you're able to take on more at once. That's all this is. So what I'm saying is when you get to where you've serviced a few clients and you get to 4, 5, 6, 7 months in the business, you start to really focus on the new business and acquiring that, as opposed to just over serving the existing. And you can do both 100%. But what happens is people get stuck in that trap where they still overserve the clients that they have only.
That makes sense. And I think, somebody like myself being newer in the business, someone like yourself, they're very different vantage points, obviously. So it when you describe it that way, it makes a lot of sense, and I think it'll make sense to everyone. But I agree. Not only do you kind of have to go through that journey, I think to really figure it out. Some things you can train on, but until you experience it, you really just don't understand. You have to know what it's like to make it to your inspections and build that in. There's just a lot of things that again you can train about it, you can talk about it, but you're just not going to really understand it. So there will always probably be. You've talked about that 6 months, even up to a year, that it really takes a lot of new agents to really figure it out, especially the ones that are already working hard to figure it out. I think it can take a lot longer than that. And there's been many stories out there of folks that just never got it figured out, never built a system. But until you have enough clients to even manage, it's hard to have that schedule where I have two people to follow up in the morning, so my morning's over. And so there is that. You almost need just enough business to have to build out your schedule where you are in that sort of middle ground of now I have deals at different stages, I have clients at different stages, because it's that accumulation effect. And you know it's coming because everybody talks about it. If you're on a team, you are seeing other agents and brokers experiencing that, and you're thinking, what will that be like when I have to manage it? But you can imagine it, but you're just not there until you're in it. And so I'm looking forward to, continuing that journey myself. But, to bring it full circle, like we talked about, being new to real estate, don't think that it's an unstructured business. It can look that way from the outside, or maybe TV or movies give it that illusion. But the truth is, it is just as structured in any other business. And truly professional real estate agents and brokers will have the most success whenever they can show that structure and even explain that to their clients, that this is not just a fly off the scene process. This is very systematic, and that's why we're able to deliver great results.
So if you're thinking of becoming a real estate agent, hopefully you got a lot of value out of this conversation. Be sure to follow our channel. We talk about things like this all the time. Tips for agents, new people trying to run teams. So check out the channel. Make sure you like and subscribe.